everyone. I've got a good show for you today. I really, really do. I've got a letter. We're going to talk about a really good subject. It has to do with being life, okay? I know you love that, right? And I want you to watch it all the way through, okay? And I want you to subscribe and leave me a comment, even if it's just a silly emoji, okay? Okay, but I've got a show going on next to me. I call it As the Cigarette Burns. When I pulled in, I thought, what's that in his mouth? Because even with my doors closed, sometimes I can smell that. It like seeps in. Because as I've mentioned before, our vehicles are not sealed containments. But this guy is really, when I was getting ready to film and just kind of sitting here, I kept looking over. Oh my gosh, he is like, he has no idea I can see him. But his windows are down. I can almost hear him. He's slamming his hand down on the dash. Cigarette after cigarette. And he's got this beard. And he just keeps going like this. And he's talking. And he's not just like talking on the phone. He's talking on the phone. And he's, oh my gosh. It's like, I call it As the Cigarette Burns. Okay, so if I'm all giggly, I've been watching him going, what a theater. How did I get next to this person? He's probably about, I don't know, 78 maybe, 78, 79 years old. He's got a real long ponytail, and he's got a beard, and he just keeps going like this. So what that tells me, body language, he's in loops. He's smoking. He needs to comfort himself all the time, pulling. And he's really getting passionate on this phone. Okay. I just had to tell you why I'm so giggly, because I'm over here dying. I'm dying over here laughing. Okay. This is from Texas Glitter. Hi, Texas Glitter. You always leave me an emoji or something, and I love it. You say, hi, Lee. I have a question. Yay. Can you live in an RV park in your car? I know the rent is lots cheaper in some of those. We live in an RV park here in Texas, and it's $400 a month, all bills paid. RV parks have water, electricity, sewer, and some have awnings to park under. So I was just wondering if you could live in your car in an RV. No. RV parks literally hate me. They literally hate me, yeah. Nah, they don't like me. And I'm going to tell you why. You know, here's the thing. RV parks have their advantage. They're not like, there's no glut on RV parks, okay? Land has gotten expensive. And with regulations and laws in the county or the state, it's becoming very expensive to actually start an RV park. So RV parks are in demand. So they can make all the rules and regulations that they want to. Okay? And so, no, they don't want me. Now, I'm not going to say 100% of them don't. I'm going to say probably 98% don't want me. Now, here's another thing, too. I do know in Quartzsite, okay, let's do Quartzsite, because there's RV parks there. There's quite a few. There's BLM land, but they're in town. It's not a big town, so I'm not going to say there's oodles of them. But there are a few RV parks in town. And they're not picky. They're really not picky. I had a friend years ago. They may have changed it, but she was in a minivan. And she came to Quartzsite and she contacted me, and she was one of my viewers, and she says, "Oh, I know you're there. Can I park beside you for a little while?" So I was like, "Oh, okay, you know." Well, the next year she went back to Quartzsite. She let me know that she was staying at an RV park because she didn't like BLM land. It was too dusty or whatever. So I do, and she was in a minivan, so I know that they do. I know if they still do, I don't know. I do know in the winter time, they're all booked up. They may say no. He's yelling again. He's yelling again. Okay. Oh, he's a train wreck. I can't stop looking. I can't look away. He's a train wreck. So anyways, but I do know that they're not as picky in Quartzsite. And here's the real reason. In the summertime, their business is almost nothing. I mean, there's only like maybe 3,000 people that live there full time in that town. So they need business. I mean, they need money. Most of them can make most of their money just in that 3-4 months in the winter. December, January, February. By March, a lot of those businesses, they close up and they leave. They've made their money. And I do know that, like the laundromat, the main laundromat down there, Jerry, they're millionaires now. They really are. Just from a laundromat. It's a nice laundromat. Oh, well, inside, they did have a little restaurant attached to it that people always went to. And they have showers. They offer showers. So, I mean, they got a real business going on and they're making their money. But in the summer, I mean, a lot of them fold up. Or maybe like the laundromat, it only opens up maybe, 3 times a week. Maybe something like that. So RV parks, they have very high regulations. Let me get into my notes. Let's dive in to RV parks. What are they about? Now, here's some milestones in RV parks. The idea of camping in America goes back far before RVs. Early 20th century travelers used automobiles and trailers to stay outdoors. Yeah. For example, I'll show you a picture of it. A 1910 motorhome type vehicle, the Pierce Arrow Touring Landau. Woo, yeah. It looks kind of cool. It was already being shown with the bed and fold down sink. Yeah. And in the 20s and the 30s, as more people had cars and roads improved, informal auto camping evolved into more formal campgrounds and early what we would call RV parks. After World War II, there was a big boom in RV travel, more families and recreational vehicles. And the standardization of RV parks became more evident with franchise chains and resorts, for example, the KOA, offering consistent amenities. More recently, the industry has been diversification. There are also luxury resorts for RV parks and an awareness of environmental sustainability issues in camping infrastructure. Okay, well, really, the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl really moved a lot of people into their vehicles. Yeah, I mean, that's where they had to stay because they couldn't afford rent or anything. After the 1929 stock market crash, millions lost jobs and homes. Cars became lifeboats on wheels. And then that's also with the 30s and the 40s, the Dust Bowl. Families traveled to find work, fruit picking, construction, any available labor. Yeah. They often camped on the roadside or they were called auto camps. They were rough open fields or fairgrounds where travelers gathered with tents and makeshift trailers. These early auto camps were the ancestors of modern RV parks. Okay, let's dive in deeper. According to industry data, as of 2024, last year, there are about 16,058 businesses classified as campgrounds and RV parks in the United States. That doesn't seem like many, does it? That's what I said. There's no blood on them. I mean, it's not like there's millions of them. There's not even 100,000 of them in the United States. Yeah. These are, I'm not including federal campgrounds. I'm including like campsites, campgrounds, and RV parks that are owned, by people or franchise. The industry size, the revenue is also substantial. One estimate for campgrounds and RV parks puts the 2025 market at $10 billion. I guess it's not huge, but it's big. The distribution is skewed though. Some regions like South Central US, South Central, well, that would be like Texas Glitter. Texas, that's South Central. Oh my gosh. Have higher concentrations of RV parks. Growth is modest. New park development is constrained by land cost and zoning issues, etc., etc. There are many parks, but the licensing or rules might differ quite a bit from one to another. Yeah, they all have these rules and regulations. Supply is somewhat fixed. It's not exploding. Parks have more choice and can set stricter rules. And we're going to get to that. Okay, so what are the typical rules of an RV park? Okay, and they'll differ, but this, like I said, this is typical. Basically, the most well-known policy is the so-called 10-year rule. Some RV parks restrict stays by RVs older than 10 years. Can you imagine having a house? Well, no, that house can't be here any longer. It's over 10 years old. And of course, that would be ludicrous. But what does that say about RVs? Yeah. They depreciate very quickly, don't they? Yeah. One park I knew in specific that really I learned a lot was when I was in Reno. I spent like good 6-7 months in Reno, or maybe even longer. That first year I went to Reno, and we used to go to Rock Park. Oh my gosh. It was right on the Truckee River. It was really in Sparks, which is right, it's like a little area of Reno, but it has its own police force and everything, but it's very small, Sparks. And, but they had an RV park there, and there was a nice long trail you could walk around the Truckee River. In fact, you could even go, the trail would go all the way around the city, the Truckee River. Very famous river. The water from the Truckee River comes down from the Sierra Mountains. There's great history to it. Okay, so, but there was an RV park right there. Another thing too about this park, it's a little offshoot, but you could look over and it wasn't that far, the airport. So there would be planes, I mean like every 10 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, a plane. And I'm not kidding, like here's the ground, here's the park. A plane would come in, and I'm not kidding, you could look up and see every details of the bottom of the aircraft. I mean, yeah, big, small, you could, Southwest, American Airlines, whatever. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I did get some footage of it. This would be in 2019, or no, 2020. And that's when I was in Reno. And so if you go back to 2020 videos in the summertime, you'll see footage, because I would just sit there. I met so many cool people. And I would just sit there and I would just I could pretty much gauge when they were coming. I put my phone up and record it, but it's pretty cool. Okay, that was an offshoot. But there was an RV park, and you could walk around it. I actually walked through it a couple of times. I just wanted to see what was in there. I mean, yeah, what are they going to do, But there could be no RV over 10 years old there. So what happens? Is that like Logan's Run? When you turn 30, you got to get in that thing and it spins and then you just disappear. I mean, where do old RVs go? Poor things, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from the people in that park. I talked to a few of them. And parks say older rigs might have leaks, be less reliable, or be eyesores from an image and liability perspective. It's more common at upscale resorts, less so at smaller independent parks, but it's a real barrier for many. Yeah, it really is. If you have an RV and you have an older one, which a lot of people do now, oh my gosh, where do they go? Because RV parks, most of them won't take them. I guess what they do is they go to San Diego and they park along the streets, because that's where we see most of them. Those are the most famous, the RV parks, Class C's and everything. They just like park near the beach, not on the beach, but near the beach, and they just park, because San Diego weather is so wonderful. I mean, it really is. And I know I'm looking over here. Sorry, things are like catching my attention. Oh, he stopped his phone conversation. Yay. He did, because he was going, and he was talking with the phone up there, and he was going, and then he slammed his hand down a little bit, and then he'd light a cigarette, Yeah. Okay, I digress. So, so a lot of people in older IVs, that's all they have. They don't have a home. Like, I don't have a home. I have my minivan. I can park my minivan pretty much where I want to. Yeah. Because RV parks, they hate me. Yeah. Okay, so site standards and hookups. Many parks require that the unit be self-contained, which I am not. I have a bucket and I have a pee bottle, right? They need water, sewer, electrical hookups, or meet certain standards. General guidelines: keep your site clean, no obstruction of roads, don't modify hookups without park permission. There's a lot of rules and regulations, and you know what? They can, because there's not that many there that they have a competition with. Well, I hope you're enjoying this, because these might be things that you didn't know. I mean, Texas Glitter, you didn't know whether I could actually be in park my minivan in an RV park. Probably no. Okay, now, stay duration and use restrictions. Many parks distinguish between transient stays, which is like overnight, versus long-term. Now, the one that was in Reno, that was very interesting. I mean, you've seen them. They're really RVs. They're like the buses or whatever, or they're fifth wheels. They're big, they're large, they take up a space, and a lot of them, they put fencing out, they plant, things, they have planters out, and they got pets. Yeah, there's awning, they've put awning on them. Yeah, they plan to stay now. Once they're already there, I'm not sure what the rule is, but I heard that on that one, I was told at that point that they had to, once they reach 10 years, they got to go. Isn't that sad? Where are they going to go? I don't know. Okay. Zoning or fire safety is an issue. Regulations may limit whether someone can live in the vehicle on the site. Well, yeah, I guess some of the zoning is like that. I don't know what states would have that, or it might be county by county. But I do know that, of course, you can have, why would it be such a fire issue? Yeah, there are motor homes, what do they call them? Fabricated homes, So this is like the same thing. Okay, and then there's the etiquette rules, quiet hours, 10 to 7, leash and pet cleanup, waste sewer rules. They got all of that, parking and traffic. If you've ever stayed for a long period of time in an RV, leave me a comment and let me know how you liked it. Yeah. Like Texas Glitter, you said that, you stay in one, it's $400 a month. Not bad at all. And you probably have Wi-Fi too. You didn't mention Wi-Fi, but you probably have Wi-Fi. Now, there is one. Okay, here's another one. I had a friend, Glenda, and her mom, Teresa. Well, we traveled a little bit. When I was with Paul, we traveled a little bit with them. And they were in Tucson. They came and stayed in Tucson with us. They went out to, oh, what is the name of that little place out there? Little town. There's an RV park out there, and they have this really cool, and Glenna had a minivan like mine, yeah. And I did her tour one time. She was into the Poshmark thing. She probably still is. Well, they were there, and when I went to visit them, they took me around. They had a really nice meetup place, like a clubhouse. They had every night they had like an activity. They had laundry and everything. It was pretty darn cool. Now, she had a minivan, and they let her stay there. Yeah. So it does happen. Yeah, you can find them. But I'll tell you, Little Town is a little, it's just out there. It doesn't have this huge reputation in Tucson. It's way out south. Okay. Nothing against Little Town. It's just this little teeny area. So basically, zoning and compliance, because parks must comply with zoning laws, local licensing, environmental rules for sewer and utilities. Because of that compliance burden, some parks restrict full-time residency in vehicles or require same standards as homes. Yeah. Now, RV park, to me, RV park said no. And I said, good, I don't care. I don't care. If you're in a car or minivan, not a typical self-contained RV, many parks will have trouble accepting me. Aw, okay. Because I won't meet the unit criteria of sewer tank, built-in bathroom, etc. If my vehicle's older or looks used, I may hit the 10-year rule, even if it's not 10 years. A lot of them go by appearance. Okay, so here's a survey I found. Here's a breakdown of RV parks and their strictness. 3% are strict on the 10-year rule, like the one in Reno. They were strict on that, but only 3%. Now, 4% are very strict on 15-year rules, which makes more sense than 10. Wow. Now, here's one. Here's the good news. 78% are at your discretion with the owners of the park. They reserve the right to refuse older rigs based on condition. You know, I do have in one of the videos, I have I told him, it's out in public. I can record anything in public if I want to. If I'm in public, I can record anything that I can see while I'm standing in public. Did you know that? I mean, that's in the Constitution. If I'm in public, I can record and film anything if I can see it while I'm standing in a public spot, a sidewalk, whatever, a public park. Yeah. So I remember, I just looked down, I said, well, I'm going to record this. His Class C, I'm not kidding, it was the worst I ever saw. It was held together all the way around with straps, and he had straps hooked to other straps. It was holding the walls in. Without those straps, it would have went boop. Yeah. Can you imagine driving behind something like that? I mean, that's like I can't imagine. I'm sure eventually he got picked up. Now, 15% have no age policy whatsoever. So there's that. Now, here's a couple other things I want to mention. I know we've heard of them. You probably have. If you haven't, I'll tell you. They're called Harvest Host. And what is it? It's a nationwide membership network where RVs can stay overnight for free at wineries, farms, orchards, and breweries, museums, and churches across the U.S. and Canada. Here's how it works. You pay an annual membership fee of $99 to $179 a year, depending on add-ons. You must have a self-contained RV. In my minivan, I cannot use Harvest Host. I did inquire on it, and they said, no, you can't. They hate me. No. And In return, you get to stay one night, maybe two if you ask nicely. And the expectation is that you'll make a small purchase to support the host. Okay. Yeah, peaceful scenery and stuff like that. Here's another one I just discovered. It's called Boondockers Welcome. Literally, Boondockers Welcome. Boondockerswelcome.com. It's now part of the Harvest Host family that operates differently, though. Hosts are private homeowners or small property owners who let travelers park on their land, driveways, fields, or side lots for free. Stays often 1 to 3 nights. Some provide water or electricity. It's more personal and community-based. So let's end this, okay? RV parks. They're very discriminatory. But do I care? Nah, I don't care. In sum, my opinion's very simple. I live in a minivan. I'm the middle child of the RV, of the nomad world. I am the middle child. Not as flashy as a big RV, but not as cramped as in a car or a tent. It slips right into city life when I need to stay stealth, and it's nimble enough to hit the road when I want peace and trees. RV parks may have all the rules and hookups, but minivans have the freedom. We really do. You can park quietly, live clean, and move on my own terms. And in a world that keeps tightening the rules, yeah, that kind of freedom is worth everything. I love my minivan. So RV parks, they can, yeah, Harvest Host, yeah, I know I'm in a minivan. There are a lot of people and here's the real issue that I have sometimes is a lot of RV owners. They don't use their bathrooms. They use buckets just like I do. They don't want the mess of black water. They don't want the mess of gray water. They just want to be free from that, but they want the space. Yeah. So I love you guys. Hey, How to Live in a Minivan, the Minivan Lee way. It's there. It's on Amazon, and it's awesome. Okay? And I've also got 8 years living in my minivan. I talk extensively about Reno when I was there. I met so many cool people. They were all potheads. I don't smoke. I haven't smoked for years. And I choose not to. I just don't want to because, I just don't think God doesn't want me to. But I don't care if other people do, if that's what they want to do. But I talk a lot about the picnics we had and the fiascos that happened there. 8 years living in my minivan, my van life chronicles. Yes, it's really funny. It's really good. So I will end this. I love you guys. I do. See you tomorrow morning, okay? Bye. Oh, I got my man. He's here guarding. He's guarding. Say goodbye. Bye. He's my friend. No, I'm not crazy. Not too much. Bye.